Thank you. My name is Janet Allen. Welcome to our June informational sharing meeting between council and leadership. We have a pretty interesting agenda, I think. We'll see what you think later. I'd like to call Barbara Hooper to do the invocation.
Good morning. Good morning. Will you please bow your head with me? Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our lives here at Cypress Village and ask for blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for our opportunity to work together at Cypress Village. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Barbara. Inspirational as always. Next, I'd like to call Jim Jandreau to do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jim. Next, I'd like to call Angelique for some recognition for staff.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hope you're having a wonderful day. Right now, I would like to call Ebony Lloyd to the front. So right now, I would like to take this time to extend a warm congratulations for June Employee of the Month to Ebony Lloyd. Ebony has worked at Cypress Village for 14 years. 14 years. She's an asset to not only our assisted living neighborhood, but the community as a whole. She's always willing to assist our residents and staff in any way that she can, and is a role model to our employees. Ebony assists with scheduling our staff and creates positive relationships with them. Thank you all for what you do, Ebony, and congratulations.
Just say thank you.
Only thing I can say is thank you, and I love working at Cypress Village, and I love all my residents.
Congratulations again. While I'm here, I guess I'll give you some HR updates. So today I would like to give everyone an update on our workforce and climate we are operating in currently. There are two big parts of keeping our community well-staffed. One is recruitment, which is getting people in the door to fill open positions, as we mentioned in our last update in March, and retention, which is not turning over the staff that we already have, right? So there's two parts. First, I would like to discuss recruitment. We feel that our recruitment strategies and people dedicated to this effort are working well. We have significantly increased overall volume as far as interviews and total number of new hires. So we're getting people in the door, right? There's robust around getting folks at Cypress. Okay, so a couple of data points that I do have is March, I discussed that we shared approximately 70 open positions. Currently, we're sitting closer to 65, and we hired since March 115. Okay? Yeah. We just need to keep doing what we're doing here, and recruitment will continue to be successful. Okay, so we're doing that correct. We're doing that right. The second part of what I wanted to talk about today is retention, which again is keeping folks hired. So here's some points in regards to turnover. Right now, From January through May, we have separated a total of 181 employees, okay? And here's the following breakdowns from departments and how it impacts. We had 22 in housekeeping, 37 in food and beverage, 49 in healthcare, 42 in assisted living and memory care, 11 in combination for security and maintenance, 3 in activities, and 15 in innovative home services. The primary reason employees disclosure that they are leaving is personal reasons versus wage, okay? Which may include things like transportation, family issues, childcare, schooling, right? A lot of our employees are single parents, right? So they can't leave children at home and they have to make a decision. There is a stigma that everyone is leaving for money. Generally, we hear is not that they have an issue with the wage itself, but it's more about around the lines of, is this worth the money when they're here, once they start? With that being said, I want to take a moment and mention to the importance of kindness and courtesy with our employees. It has influence. It absolutely does. It can mean the difference between keeping someone and someone then being a flight risk. Okay? However, in the recent 2-3 months, we are seeing much higher wage pressures as inflation has skyrocketed. We are assessing some necessary adjustments at this time. I want to end with some positive highlights because there are many positive things that are happening here at Cypress. Our recruitment is truly working well. Like I mentioned, we hired over 100 people since March. We filled all nursing positions on day shift and healthcare center. And at one point, I think it could have been the last conversation that we had, we were just closing in. We had about 5 of our own outside of agency at Cypress. We have been putting some additional attention into customer service trainings and initiatives as we acknowledge you all deserve certain levels of service, and this has been well received by our staff. Okay. I want to extend my thanks on behalf of HR and our executive team for your patience and support while we do our best to recruit and specifically retain the best for Cypress Village. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I work with leadership every week, and I can attest to it's all hands on deck for recruiting new staff. And instead of doing all of his well, he's still doing all of his duties, but he's also recruiting medical staff. That's his new job. And the culture committee is finding ways to increase retention. So everyone's working hard on that. I'd like to do the treasurer's report. Wendy, our treasurer, our council member Wendy Griffith, is left to go to, I think, a graduation. Busy time of year. But for our, well, I don't think I can read this. It's so small. Can you read the total that we have?
The balance,
Yeah.
$1,252.53.
$1,252.53. And as most of you know, that money is collected mainly through the donations people make at Coffee Chat for the sticky buns. So Cypress does provide that free, but the council collects the money, and the majority of it is donated to the scholarship fund and the employee appreciation fund. That's what we do with the money. Next up, we did do a Cypress Community Fund first quarter report on the back of your agenda, but unless you have super eyes like Tony, you probably can't read it. And so next month we'll present a separate page, and by then we'll be into the second quarter. Next up, we have community committee updates. Mark is going to give you an update on some of the things the dining committee is working on.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by introducing the members of the dining committee. And if you're here, please either stand up or raise your hand and wave it around a little bit so everybody can see who you are. We have Jim Griffiths and Clara Cowan, Elsie Thompson, Linda Doherty, Nora Manahan, Carol Bryce, and me. That's it. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about menu chat. A lot of times in the hallway, or if I'm in the Loon's Nest or eating at Middleton's, I'll hear people, kind of overhear people saying, well, why don't we have this? Or, why are they serving that? Or whatever. The purpose of menu chat is for you to be able to have some input into the menu. Every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, up in the, on the 7th floor meeting room. And what they do is they leave one entree per day blank so we can choose what we want. And also the soup of the week is blank, and sometimes other things, some of the sides. So if there's something that you would like to have them prepare that they haven't done recently, come to menu chat. That's the venue to do that. Some other good news is we used to have around the dining table, which was a chance for residents to get together with the Director of Food and Beverages to ask for suggestions and to give comments. Ben wants to start that up again. I don't have the date yet, but he's really excited about it. He wants your feedback. He can't improve things or change things if he doesn't know what you want. So I think it'd be a good opportunity for all of us to get together with him. Go easy on him because it's nice to give him some compliments too. Also, this soft opening is going to be happening soon at 4600. And I think it's really good for us to remember that the servers that are presently doing Middleton's have never taken orders and served food like a real waiter or waitress. And so this is going to be kind of a soft training and also a soft opening and also a training period for the servers. So we have to really go easy.
Then on the 6th of June, in this room, we celebrated D-Day, Normandy landing. And today, there are two events. That's the reason why I'm wearing my uniform. First one is Flag Day. 1777 is when the United States established our flag, as you see on that wall, and you see there. Different number of stars, of course. And then in 1775, 2 years prior, is when the United States Army was established. First institution of our government. So the Army, 247 years young. So we celebrate the birthday today here in this room, 4 o'clock. You're all invited, and we'll have some songs and videos and so forth. When we talk about veterans and when we hold our monthly meeting, there are several continued guests there. Very important one is Joe Salzano, who is the Veteran Service Officer, who helps us veterans when we have issues for Veterans Affairs. Extremely helpful individual. And we have Gavin. I had to write his name phonetically. Viljokinum. We only call him Gavin. And Gavin is from VITAS and supports us also with Veterans Affairs. And then we have Katie as our sponsor, and Lisa Drew, who also attends, because much of what we do in the Veterans Committee is dependent upon activities. And activities coordinates these events that I just talked about. So that's the support that we get. And then we also have on a monthly basis what's called Coffee with Comrades. Coffee with Comrades, I flip them sometimes. And where veterans discuss issues that impact them. Widows and widowers are there. And our Veteran Service Officer, Joel Solzano, is there also to help us go through some of those issues. So we are an active committee, and we are now begin planning for Veterans Day for our annual dinner that we will hold in this room and combine with the Loon's Nest. Last year we had 150 people attending. So it is a major event, and we thank Cypress Village for sponsoring that. And without them, we also could not do this. So I will pass the mic on to our president.
Thank you, Jim. We did add one thing to the agenda, and that is our facilities chair, Pam. She just had an update from facilities, and so she just wanted to give you a few updates.
Thank you, Janet. Good morning. As you may have noticed, a couple of our fountains are not doing their thing. Maintenance is aware of that. They have a scheduled call in to the doctor for the fountains. Occasionally he doesn't show, but we believe one has a switch issue, which is on the Silverberry, but the one here by the towers has to be examined because they feel it might be a new pump issue. Concrete work is still going, but we have a little snag with the supply of the materials. The hardening substance that has to be added to concrete is in very short supply. So we are progressing with the dangerous or risk ones first, which are typically the sidewalk grades, where you're seeing a lot of red, yellow, and maybe even some green stripes. But that's to aware the people who are fixing it, but also to alert us about a tripping hazard. But it is on the schedule, money has been allocated, and it's going to happen as soon as we can get the supplies. A new treadmill is supposed to be going into the fitness center today. I don't know if I believe it, but that's what I was told. But it's supposed to be today, yes, and the one that's been down will be out. But we still have one working one, so we'll have two soon. The misters in the boathouse aren't misting. I don't know, we have a putters group that goes out there once a week, which we'd all love you to join us. So in these hot weather, we turn on those fans and the misters, and they're not working. That's been reported to Dave, and he's having the technician come and do a PM, preventive maintenance, checkup on the fans and the misters, because he says there has been a cutoff of the water for whatever reason. And drawings for our green roof project may be available in about a month. Progress is being made. The information is still flowing back and forth between leadership and the consultant. But I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll see something in the lobby probably sometime this summer. And we've hired a new technician in maintenance and facilities, so that's good. He hasn't started yet because we have the lag on having to pass all the background checks. But Dave's word was, oh, he should pass, he's an older person. So I thought that was pretty relevant. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Please use the Cypress app to report work orders. You can email myself, you can email Jennifer or CJ. Having both CJ and Jennifer there has been a huge blessing. It's really, really been good. So if your experience is in that, let us know, but it's an awesome improvement. Having the new tech's going to help. The PM for the houses is now going to start on Croton. They've finished Silverberry and Indigo. Wherever you are, when you get a call for an appointment, pick some time you can do it, but keep that appointment. Because when people don't, it sets the technician back basically a day, because he's there close to 4 hours. But it's so thorough, he's very nice, and it's a good process. But it's important that we don't not show when he's going to be at our house. So that's it. I don't have anything else. Thank you very much for your time.
Next, I would like to call Ty Morgan, our Executive Director. He's also one of our recruiters, and I understand now he's also a dishwasher. He's tended bar, mopped the floor, and also he's experienced as a server. So if this gig doesn't work, Ty, you have lots of alternatives.
Thank you, Janet. And Dave's terminology, Pam, was a little off. We don't refer to them as older people, they're mature. In the recruiting world, that's the politically correct way to address them. And I really love when I talk to a mature person on the phone, because typically, you get a better, I hate to say it, but a better employee when they're mature. But good morning to everybody. I've got a lot to say here, but I do want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. My goal this morning is to provide everybody with full transparency and disclosure of critical service areas that affect all of you or most of you on a daily basis, and what the actionable plans are that we have in store in the immediate time frame. The COVID-19 pandemic brought a lot of unprecedented staffing challenges and other health-related challenges to our community. But in doing so, it has also revealed the commitment and dedication of many members of the community that are invested here. They've really been standouts. The almost post-pandemic phase is presenting additional challenges that have caused further complications and delays to our hopefully return to normal, i.e. staffing, supply chain shortages, and inflationary pressures that have shown enormous damaging effects on us returning to a normal state. My focus will be on key personnel and events related primarily today to environmental services and dining services, two departments which have still not resumed full service schedules due to challenges just referenced. I want to thank Angie and Human Resources for sharing some of the human capital stats of hiring, retention, and turnover. With that, I would like to segue into how those statistical figures impact our operation in key areas that affect our daily lives, residents' daily lives, as well as employees. I do want to mention, in some of the stats she did not hit on, that her and I were reviewing before the meeting, we've been averaging about 300 interviews a month. 300. And I didn't go all the way back to January, but if I just go back to March to today, out of the 300 interviews, we're averaging about a 10% show rate. So we schedule 300 interviews, 20% show rate. So if we schedule 300 interviews, we're averaging about 60 people, thank you, I can't do the math, that show up. I don't have the hiring rates, but I just thought I would share the volume because that's very impactful. So as I mentioned, I'm going to start with environmental services, which is basically our housekeeping and laundry services, and the key highlights. I'm going to start with important positions. Number one is the director of that department, which is Anthony Bone. He is transferring, as many of you know, to a sister community, but will be on site for roughly a couple more weeks. Anthony has been with Cypress going on 2 years. Thankfully, we have hired a new environmental services director. He comes from one of our competitors here locally, and his name is Lester Ruiz. And he has been successfully hired, and he is scheduled to begin his role here at Cypress Village on the 20th of June, which is about a week from today. It is imperative that myself and my team and all of us here today make this transition or this new hire very successful. We have to support this individual as well as encourage him because he's taking on a lot. The majority of his department is roughly contracted labor, I would say about 30% of it. So he's coming in here with a lot on his plate. Typically it takes a new director, and I like to share this, it's off script a little bit, but typically anybody new coming into a leadership role here at Cypress Village, I like to give them as their direct supervisor roughly 6 months. It takes at least 6 months to really get your feet wet here, know what's going on, know how the system works, know the processes, know the software, know the residents, know everything that has to happen here. So please just be mindful of that because we do have a lot of new leaders here at Cypress Village. Natalie Gibbs, which many of you know in independent living, Ernesto Relunia, who is in assisted living and memory care, and Sandra Zamat, who oversees the healthcare center, will continue to act in their supervisory roles for their respective areas and responsibilities. I'm very confident in all three of them in that middle management layer here for housekeeping services. Recently, we have onboarded a new laundry new laundry supervisor, manager. Her name is Taisha Molina Cruz. Her immediate goal will be familiarizing herself with the operation and hiring permanent employees to build her team. As mentioned, I think in the last community meeting, we lost the entire laundry department in 1 day. So with that, we had to fill the void with third-party contracted labor. So she is the only one currently that is a Cypress Village member or member of the team or staff member. So as I mentioned, to ensure service is maintained to our residents, we have contracted a third-party service to support the operation there. Lastly, within environmental services and housekeeping is public areas. Public areas involves the carpet maintenance, the trash chute pickup, setups in here, setups for resident events. We currently only have one, and we typically operate with 3. This position is very physical, as you can imagine. It pulls trash from every trash chute, all the garbage cans throughout, the doggy poopy cans as well, so just about every area of responsibility for trash. It's responsible for all activity setups, Cypress Village, as well as resident events, and as I mentioned, the carpet maintenance, which is a beast unto itself. On a very, very sad note, one of our floor techs, Mr. John Bell, of 17 years, has recently passed away over the weekend. He died due to a terminal illness. John was an extremely hard worker, reliable, deeply connected to Cypress Village. Cypress management has set up support efforts, including meal trains and other efforts to support his family during this difficult times. We're waiting on the funeral arrangements for John, but many of you that have been here for a long time know John. So we are currently running public areas at about 30% of overall capacity. Thus, we had to bring in a third party to handle and maintain carpets, as well as other deep cleaning and common areas. So what are we doing? Action steps to stabilize and improve environmental services. I mentioned number 1, successfully transition and integrate our new director, Luis. I'm sorry, I call him Luis. Lester Luis, anyway. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be effective onboarding of at least 2 new housekeepers. This will allow the residents in the apartments to restore weekly service for residents that are residing in apartments. Based on forecasting hires, we project weekly service to start in July. Number 3, overhire housekeepers to compensate for potential turnover. Hire at least 1 to 2 more housekeepers than we have budgeted just to hedge the potential loss. Number 4, expeditiously replace third-party laundry aides with full-time Cypress Village employees. Number 5, explore scheduling efficiencies and communication/organizational opportunities within the housekeeping department. These are the most controllable adjustments that we can do to improve service, consistency, and productivity within the department. We are awaiting the new director's arrival prior to proceeding with any of these plans, as they have not been reviewed with resident council or any other resident leadership bodies at this time. Moving on to dining services, key highlights. To stabilize dining services operation, we need at least a few key individuals. These key positions are the executive chef, assistant dining room manager, and a bartender. Additionally, we need 2 to 3 cooks, plus 5 at least servers to be at an optimal point to build upon. To describe the pressure and stresses put on this particular department, our Director of Dining Services, Mr. Ben Gaudio, is currently covering 3 roles on a daily basis. He's covering his current role, he's the current executive chef or interim executive chef, and he is also a cook. Our Associate Dining Director, Jennifer Ames, is also covering 3 roles. She's overseeing the management of the Loon's Nest, catering and banquets, and is also a cook on many occasions. Our dining room manager, Lindsay Rothman, is covering 3 open positions as well. Her position, the assistant dining room manager, the assisted living memory care dining room manager, and also a vacant supervisor position. Sous chef Robert Francis is covering multiple roles as well, including sous chef, cook, dishwasher, utility. All of which listed above will continue to support the food production and service efforts to provide meal services for all of you, our residents. The front of the house, being the servers, is similarly understaffed. Servers have one of the highest turnover rates of any job code in Cypress Village. The typical pattern for a server is if one leaves, multiple follow. When one calls out for work because the fish are biting or the waves are good, multiple call out or several call out. This causes managers to support the vacant areas and makes it unable for them to perform their managerial jobs because they're filling in for these servers that call out or whatever it may be. This workforce has very limited professionalism, very difficult to manage and retain, and constant hiring is required. Action steps to stabilize and improve dining services in the immediate future. Number 1, maintain Sandpiper, Middleton's, and Loon's Nest as fully operational. Number 2, utilize third-party labor services for cooks until permanent are in place. 3, complete standards trainings for all servers, which was completed last week. Number 4, prioritize hiring key leaders, which includes executive chef. And I'm proud to say we have 2 scheduled this week, second interviews, so that's a good sign. And an assistant dining room manager, which we also have a candidate for. Number 5, prepare for opening 4600 East as scheduled. And 6, retain current staff and overhire servers and cooks in preparation for any turnover. My goal really this morning was to put in perspective where deficiencies are operationally, primarily in these 2 departments. There are other areas that are in need as well. And convey to you that the staff in these 2 departments are really doing everything possible to provide the best food and service possible to all of you on a daily basis while operating roughly at 60% capacity. Residents, progress is going to be slow, I hate to say it. We're not satisfied with where we are. I know you aren't, but we are dealing with that as a reality, and I'm not going to fabricate anything or make any excuses. Economists are predicting the job market will tighten, inflation and gas will continue to rise, Supply chains are going to worsen, and overall things are going to be more challenging in the months ahead. In conclusion, I ask that we all remain united and supportive. That's really the only controllable factor we have here as a community, as a group, as a family. Complaints and constant negativity amongst yourself and others will not resolve anything material. It will only make the day worse. I mean, to be real candid. The challenges our community and other businesses face as a whole are very difficult to navigate and may require a review of what operations look like in the future if no improvements occur by the end of this year. I want to clarify the following. The fact of us being understaffed is not ideal to our financial performance, I can assure you. We do not want to be understaffed. This has nothing to do with bottom line. In fact, it's actually negative to the bottom line because the contracted services, third parties, are 2 to 3 times as expensive as our staff would be. Our immediate plan will be to continue to the current course through the next few months, following through on our actionable items and hiring key leaders. We need to be very aligned and support each other through these times, which will allow us to move forward more productively and effectively. If we continue to be negative, criticize, and beat down our community, we will be set to fail and be miserable together. Let's not let that happen. Let's be thankful for what we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ty. I certainly appreciate all that leadership is doing to make life better for us. And I always try to find gratitude and thank people for all the things they do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't see anybody else in the room. Our next community meeting is July 12th at 10 o'clock here. Unit leaders and floor leaders will not be meeting in July, and the council will not be meeting in August, so there will not be a community meeting in August. And with that said, have a wonderful day, hot day. Enjoy. Thank you for coming.